Good, good, good. Hey, glad you found us. We had to kind of last minute plans with the rain and change it to here. Those who are watching online, welcome. We're glad that you're here. First, I just want to say happy Father's Day to all the dads in the room. So happy Father's Day, Tallis. Happy Father's Day, Ryan, Jimmy, Tim, Tom, Dean, Craig, Troy, Brian, almost Ethan, Aaron, and Matt. Happy Father's Day. Literally all the dads in the room. Again, glad that you're here today. Well, we were supposed to be dunking people at the lake. That didn't happen, obviously. So we're going to have service a little bit different than normal. I'll get to that in just a minute. Before we do that, I just want to tell you about a couple things coming up. Just a reminder, next week, we'll be in here like normal. We're doing our next block party. So that's a great opportunity to invite people to that. We'll have the bounce houses outside. This time, I think we're going to have some of our teenagers, some of our 13-year-olds right there helping out with the bounce houses, making sure the kids are doing okay in there. Got a little crazy last time. We'll have volleyball. We'll have the yard games set up. Again, it's a great opportunity to get to know your neighbors. We're also going to have some door hangers that if you want some, they should arrive on Tuesday. Let us know. We'll drop some off at your house. We're going to hit up some of the neighborhoods around here as well, just inviting people to that and just to Mosaic in general. And then 4th of July weekend, what we always do is do an all-church picnic. So that's at Elm Creek Park. Again, same place we've always been. If you drive in just past the swimming beach, there's like the Acorn and Bluebird pavilions. We're at the Bluebird, where we were last year, so the second one. Volleyball net, cookout, it'll be fun stuff. Sounds good? All right, so what I want to try, we're going to do dinner here in a little bit, but we're going to, I just want to talk a little bit about fathers and spiritual fathers. You know, the Bible talks a lot about Jesus as God as our Father, that he is the father to the fatherless, that even if we don't have a good example, God is a good father to us. But also, Paul talks about being a spiritual father to young men and investing in them on just, what you've learned. He poured into Timothy, to other people. And so in our lives, we can have our natural born fathers investing in us, but also we have these spiritual fathers, maybe who have taught us something, who invested in us. And then and I would even put in that category, we have coaches and mentors in our life who've invested in us. So what I want to do is we're going to have a little bit of open share time because it's kind of more casual tonight. I preached this morning here at CCC on John 4, so I could do a 35-minute message for y'all that I preached this morning. I was like, I don't feel like doing that again. So I thought that would be kind of fun. Let's just share stories about our natural-born dads. Again, it's Father's Day. And I understand it can be a tough day for a lot of people, but how have your dads invested in you? Just tell them the stories of just kind of meaningful. And someone in your life, maybe, if you don't want to talk about your natural, your parent, but a spiritual father, someone who invested in you, someone who discipled you, maybe a coach, a teacher, someone, again, who taught you something. And it doesn't even have to just be spiritual things. But I thought it'd be kind of nice just to take some time and just celebrate the people in our lives who've invested in us and share stories and encourage those. So I'll go in a little bit, but I'm wondering, someone who would like to share about their dad. And Tallis, come on down. That was a quick hand. I love it.
Yeah, sweet. I can share a little bit about my dad and then a spiritual father as well. My dad, I would say my dad a lot, he kind of more has led by example. My mom is really like outspoken about things, but my dad is just kind of a quiet, steady presence that I don't know, continues to invest in us through actions, through the ways that he pushes himself and then pushes us. And then even I can remember a few times wanting to quit things when they get hard, and he's just like, that's just, in a loving way, like, tell me more, but also that's just not probably the go-to. So how do we stick through it and keep going? So I really admire my dad a lot in just the ways that he was able to open up space for me whenever I needed to just kind of talk to him, and he just listen. And then I would say another kind of spiritual father kind of came in college. I would say called a mentor, friend, but his name was Paul. He was extremely generous with his time and his resources. And then he taught me one of my favorite phrases. He told me one time when I was like having a hard time. He said like, in any choice you only ever get to choose either faith or fear. And so like which one are you going to choose? So that stuck with me a long time. And just a kind of a fun example of his generosity. He used to really like whoop my butt and racquetball, and he would always say like winner buys dinner. And so he like would like put this like not he would like try to make it a competitive thing because he knew I wanted to beat him. But then also just kind of playing into that generosity and saying like I know I'm probably going to win, and I'd honestly like to serve you with dinner anyway. So it was just cool. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Wait 1 second. We're going to do some Q&A too.
Oh, okay.
Spotlight.
Yes. All right.
If you had to describe Paul in one word, what would you say?
Well, okay, hyphenated.
Sure.
Life-giving.
Life-giving. I like that.
Yeah.
And then your dad, one word.
Caring.
Caring.
I'd say, yeah.
Nice.
Steady. She said steady, but I pointed to her as if I was going to say what she said.
Yeah, I love it. Good. Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. All right, who wants to go? Who wants to share about spiritual dad or your real dad on Father's Day? Ethan, come on down.
So yeah, I wanted to share a little bit about my dad. And if I had to give him a one-word title, I would have to say selfless. He's probably the most selfless person I've ever met. And it took me until I was probably like 18 to I fully realized it. But I realized that every single time, without fail, anytime one of us kids, hey, Dad, are you going to eat your last slice of pizza? He'll say, no, you can have it. Or, hey, Dad, would you mind helping me out with this? Yeah, I can set down what I'm doing right now and help you out with that. Anytime my mom was like, honey, I really don't feel like picking up my youngest daughter, Lydia, he would be like, yeah, I'll go. And he'll go out there and drive every single time without fail. There's pretty much any time you asked him something and he was able to lay down what he was doing at that moment, he would, without fail. And I don't know how much I can live up to that with just who I am as a person. Sometimes I'm a little stubborn. Yeah, probably can't. And so as myself becoming a father here very shortly, I'm trying to think of all the other things that I can try to emulate with him. But his ability to also, anytime one of us kids found a new hobby that we loved doing, my dad would always try to be in it. And with every one of us kids, he found something that he could enjoy with us and has that with all of us. With me, that's baseball. With my younger brother, that was video games for a long time. With my sister, that was puzzles. Another sister, that was TV shows. He would find something with each of us kids he would be able to invest in a lot of time into. And so, that's a little bit about my dad.
If you had to compare your dad to somebody from the Bible, who would you pick?
Man, somebody from the Bible. I'm not sure exactly. Who are you thinking? I feel like you have someone exactly in mind.
I'd probably go the Apostle John.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's a pretty good answer.
Oh, why? Yeah. He's the youngest, which your dad is, and just kind of steady and quiet.
My dad was always the background guy.
Yeah.
If you know Josh McDermott here, that's who my dad was for my churches growing up. And I was always a part of church plants with my dad. And I would always wake up at 6:30 in the morning every single Sunday. And he would get me a donut sometimes, and we would go to church. And I'd be the loud kid running down the hallways with my friends. But he would always be there setting up setting up lights, setting up sound at the soundboard, and he was always in the background, just happy as a clam, not being in front of anybody. He would preach every once in a while, but, I'm not that. I'd much rather be in front.
Amen. That's true. Thanks for the mic. All right, who else wants to talk about their dad or a spiritual father? Dad, come on down. Tim Lindeen, everyone.
Well, anybody that knows me knows that I'm pretty much a type A guy, and I'm always doing things, and a lot of things. And my dad was not that, but I've always tried to remember him and think, okay, the things that I remember most about my dad, appreciate the most, I still try to do, because he loved life more than anybody I know I've ever met, but he did it in his own way. He loved sitting on the front porch swing set with a pipe in one hand, a cup of coffee in the other, and just relaxing, just chilling, watching the sunset, sitting next to my mom. And he loved feeding the birds. He loved hearing the birds. He loved farming. He loved just doing things at his pace, which was not my pace. But, I loved that about him, because he was joyful in his own way, and I loved his laugh and his smile, and most of all, I loved how much he loved my mom, because he showed it all the time, especially in that era of the 1950s and 60s. You weren't supposed to do that. But my dad would be kissing my mom in front of us, hugging her, telling her how much he loved her and how great, special she was. And, of course, us guys were like, oh, Dad, stop it. But it was so refreshing to see that. And he just gave himself for everybody else but himself. I mean, he's not like men today that had a boat or went fishing or went hunting or went golfing. He just did whatever he needed to do for the family, for the 5 kids, and for Mom. And he loved doing that. And he drove a school bus for like 35 years. And he did the kindergarten route and the morning route and the evening route and the special ed route, whatever he could, in addition to farming. So you'd think that might be type A, but no, that wasn't. It was just slowly paced going to the bus and slowly paced coming home and feeding the cows, and milking the cow and stuff. But just a man of God that was just solid and loved God and loved people. So,
yeah. If you had to describe your dad in one word, what would you pick?
Well, it was more than steady. I would say centered, joyful, loving life, really.
Yeah. Good. Who wants to go now? Brian.
All right, I'll share a little bit about my dad. And people who know my dad, I'll give a little bit different picture than the man that they know today. My dad today is amazing. He's always been a church leader. He is a professor at Bethel and has invested 40 years of his life into college students and really intentional about building relationships with them and help shepherd them and disciple them more than just be a teacher, right? But the thing that I recognize about my dad the most is how hard it was for him, because I was an accident. I was not planned. My parents got married after dating for a very short time because of me. And, early on in their marriage, they committed to work really, really hard to make that work and to make God the foundation of their marriage. And so I think that says a lot about my dad's character. But then he always had to work hard. And I remember him working really hard to be a dad. little things, things like coaching and things like that came naturally to him because he got to have fun. But the one that really stands out to me is his father. My grandfather was also an amazing Christian man, but one of the things that he didn't do as a father is he never told my dad that he loved him. And that was one thing that my dad recognized and said, this is one thing that I want to do differently. And so one of the things that I find really amazing about my dad is that he always went out of his way intentionally, constantly to tell us and let us know that he loved us. To the point where even, and it never stopped, it never has stopped. I still get text messages every once in a while that say, hey, don't really want anything, just wanted to tell you that I loved you. And so his commitment to that has been one of the things that's been pretty amazing.
If you had to compare your dad to someone from the Bible, who would you pick?
Oh, man. That's tough. That's so hard.
I know.
Man, someone who's really just a servant, who is willing to be there for people and support people and love on them.
Yeah. I'm going to go James, the older brother of John, because James and John were loud and boisterous, the sons of thunder, and your dad is like loud and joyful and full of life, and I think, he would have liked people. Yeah. Awesome. Sweet. Who else wants to go? Any of the younger people in the room? Oh, look, there's a hand, Christina. And then Owen's been volunteered.
Well, I figured at least one woman should talk.
I know, I was like, kind of surprised.
My dad and I are very similar personalities, so we do not get along a lot of the times, because we both have very big personalities and we both are very passionate and stubborn, but we also both care a lot and love other people a lot. And I was also an accident, but I was an accident when they were 17, and he was a junior in high school when they got pregnant, and he never once faltered in saying, okay, that's my baby, that's my daughter. He was ready to marry my mom as soon as he found out. She said no to that and made him wait. But he never held back. He immediately was like, all right, well, that wasn't planned, but God's gonna make it work. And his dad is the same way. His dad's a pastor and a chaplain and very much a Christian. And so when he went to him and said, she's pregnant, it was kind of a surprise to everybody that instead of being like upset that he had gotten pregnant and sinned at that age and done this, he said, okay, well, God's got a plan. So that's our granddaughter, that's our baby girl now. And my mom's dad did the same thing. And so my dad has always been surrounded by really strong men who taught him how to be a dad and how to be a man. And he never doesn't tell me he loves me. He never doesn't tell me how proud of me he is, to the point where I get uncomfortable because social anxiety is fun. So, but he does it anyways. He ignores my uncomfortableness and just says, too bad. I'm proud of you and I love you. And he's a couple years ago, he was struggling with his mental health, and he almost walked out of his marriage and to my mom. And but the one thing he always said, I found out after the fact that he was considering it, after he had decided not to, but he said, I was never leaving you, even if I did move out of the house. And he said, because that was my big concern, is I was angry at him, and I said, you were gonna leave me, and he said, I was never leaving you. And thankfully he got turned around by Eric, and Eric looked at him and said, you're being stupid. Go home. Don't do this. And he did. He stuck with it, and he committed himself again to my mom and never stopped. And I don't think he ever will.
Nice. I know who your dad is in the Bible, but who do you think?
I have literally no idea.
Oh, that's super easy.
I want to know who
Oh, he's Peter all the way. He'll chop a guy's ear off. No questions
true.
asked. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very true.
For sure. Yeah. That's all. Yeah, that was obvious. All right, who else wants to go? Owen and Josh, come on down. Both you guys. Both you guys. One then the other.
Okay, go. Do it.
You go first.
No, you go first. I said you go first. My dad is in the corner over there. He really likes to bond with us kids. And he likes to take us to places. Last year, he took me and Emmett to Valley Fair. It was like my third time being there. And Emmett we're gonna go on the wild thing together. And my dad brought his phone, and we got a great picture of Emmett. Emmett's also in the corner over there. So that was great. And then the first time I went on Wild Thing with my dad, he was laughing the whole time because I was terrified. And I was clinging to the bar, trying not to die. And my dad was just laughing, and it was great once I got off. And I did it again. Your turn.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to say about my dad, and he's the most adaptive person I've ever met. It's a very strange thing to say, but it's true. He, just coaching me in baseball, he never did it before. He never did it before, and then came in and did it, and now he's still doing it with my 2 different teams, and it's just really cool. And he did it my first year, and then my second time doing it, he didn't do it. He was like, I can't not be there. So he was there. Now he's been there every single time. It's been a really cool thing. And yeah, if you threw him in a jungle, I feel like he would be lost. I feel like he would be on that island and just surviving because he's so adaptive. It's so weird to say that, but it's just true. And just all my mental health, he had no clue what to do, and now he's just helped me every step of the way. So, yeah. And I want to say about my spiritual father, and that is my teacher, Mr. Dallow. He is one of the greatest people I've ever met. He's just super cool guy. He's just he sent me a video on my birthday, and he was like, just be crazy about God. I was like, I will. And so, yeah, and he's just always just been there. If I feel a little sad, he'll just be like, yo, Josh, you good? I'll be like, yeah. And he'll be like, okay. And then we just go on. And then it's just this, it's just pretty cool. Yeah.
Anyone from the Bible you can think of?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to go Matthew the tax collector because he's probably really good at math.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Troy's really good at math and really smart, that kind of stuff.
Peter, honestly.
Peter?
It's just,
Sure. I'll chop a dude's ear off.
Yeah, I feel like you would.
Sounds good. All right, who wants to go now? Katie, come on down, Katie. Yeah. You don't need to bounce in the back. Sorry. It's a blind spot right there.
A few of you have maybe met my dad. He's been here a few times, but he is just the most joyful person. And I would say other than spiritual, we'll get to that, but spiritually, or other than that, the thing he taught me that I carry with me most is the attitude of, well, that didn't work. no big deal. We'll try again, do it a different way, see how it goes. And that has been a very helpful attitude in life. Spiritually, we'd always see him in the morning. He would get up. He has 8 children, and he would get up before all of us so that he would have time to read his Bible. So when we were waking up, there was Dad and Mom reading their Bibles. It was a fantastic example to set. He blessed us every night, like put hands on our heads and blessed us, even the kitties. So he was just a goofball, and he loved Jesus. He just raised us up in a really loving and supportive home. He was steadfast. I got my love of tinkering from him, so if there's an appliance that's broken, I will totally take it apart. My mom has gotten mad at me because I'm out in the yard taking apart our lawnmower, trying to fix it, and going, well, that didn't work. Better call the repairman. But that is my dad. He's just curious and a goofball and wonderful.
Nice. What's the one word you'd use for your dad? Yes. What's the Bible character?
I said goofball.
Yes.
I said goofball.
That's
So I've been thinking about this because I had time now. But David, because David was given a promise, but it didn't come like right away. And he had a lot of struggles, and he just had to walk basically blindly by faith. And that was my dad, raising 8 kids on one salary. He just had to trust God that it was going to work, because there were so many months where I know, even as a little kid, that they were short. And somehow God provided. And my dad just kept walking and kept trusting. And now I would say that he's like King David. He's got all the grandkids. He just gets to do whatever he wants. And he's just peaceful, which David was kind of a warrior, but in the later years was a little bit more peaceful. And that's totally my dad.
That's awesome. Nice. Who else? Lauren, come on down.
Yeah, so my dad has always been someone that's really hardworking and invests, and we actually just built a deck, and part of that, of like why we did it ourselves, was because I saw my dad building decks, and like he was a very do-it-yourself, if the car was broken, he would be in there trying to fix it. So when we bought an old house kind of by Osseo and something stopped working, it was like, call my dad, and he would be there to help and figure it out. I remember that in high school too. If I had math homework or physics homework and couldn't figure it out, he was always there to help figure it out, and just very persistent in that, and kind of similar to Ryan. He was grown up in a home that no one said, I love you, didn't give hugs, and I didn't know that until like I got older and saw kind of that difference, because he was always there and said, I love you, and kind of gave awkward hugs. I was kind of like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, this doesn't come natural to you. You didn't experience this, but like he chose to push through and, make that change for myself and my sisters. And I just, really appreciate that. And kind of as he's worked through some and kind of experiencing hard stuff right now with mental health, like to see him come and say like, hey, can you pray for me? This is really hard. And as someone that usually he's I can do this kind of a thing, but to see him be vulnerable as well has been really eye-opening, and to see him be a grandpa to our kids and just be there for them. I've just really appreciate we're very similar too. He's very hardworking, so yeah.
And from the Bible you can think of for your dad?
Probably like Matthew, very like quiet, but he's a really smart guy, so yeah.
Nice. I like it. Good. Noah, he's a builder. Who else wants to go? Levi, come on down.
My dad is very funny. He will always take me to all the Marvel movies that when they first come out, which is very fun. I don't have any more.
What's one thing your dad taught you about life? Anything?
know.
You don't know? Okay, good. Can you think of one word to describe your dad?
Nice.
Nice. I like it. Good. I like it. Anybody else? Do I see Rush Danielson's hand? Come on down, Rush.
My dad's right there. Uh, he's fun. He like plays with us and stuff. Um.
What's something your dad's taught you?
I don't know.
Anything you respect or admire about your dad?
He's a hard worker.
Yeah. Nice. Can you think of anyone from the Bible that your dad reminds you of?
Matthew.
Matthew? Nice.
He's smart.
He's smart. Good. Excellent. Good job, Rush. Anybody else? Emmett, do you want to go? Or Troy? Or Matt? Anybody? All right, sounds good. We'll wrap up here real soon. Or Kristen, is that a hand? No, you don't want to talk about your dad. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, well, my dad is in the room as well. He's right there in the yellow shirt. My dad's taught me a lot about being a husband and a dad and a leader in the church and a hard worker. And yeah, always loved us kids, supported us, and cheered us on. And was always, we knew that he was there for us. A lot of times my dad's work schedule, he would work evenings or weekends, so different kind of schedule, but always knew he was in our corner and made the most of his opportunities to be there for us when he could be, and still cheering me on at the church and always there supporting us. And then I've had a number of spiritual fathers in my life as well who really invested in me. I grew up at a church, if you didn't know that, just down the road from here. Maple Grove Assembly of God Church. We were there from about 1985 to 2000-ish. And there were a number of men in that church. We were a small church. I think we never broke 200 people. I think we were around 100-something most of my time there. But the neat thing was, again, like it really was like a family where you had these kind of older adults pouring into you and sometimes correcting you when you did knuckleheaded stuff, and they'd call you out on that. And in particular, a guy named Mark Brown is my best friend's dad, and Mark ran sound at our church for a couple decades. Now he has a company with his son, my best friend Dan, and they run sound for like the President of the United States, to Elton John, to everybody. It's pretty amazing. But he invested in us. We were in a program at our church called Royal Rangers. Anyone else was a Royal Ranger? Probably not. It's like Boy Scouts for Jesus. And so, little known fact, I did that through I was 18, senior of high school. I was cool. We did it secretly on Sunday nights. So I got my equivalent of the Eagle Scout Award. So we basically took all the Boy Scout requirements and then added church and Bible stuff to it. So I was an Eagle Scout. It's called something different. But anyways, but Mark was my leader in that for 7 years, I think, roughly. Just making sure that me and his son Dan would finish well, and we'd get our gold medal of achievement. It was called our Eagle Scout Award when we were 18. And he wasn't a very soft man, but I remember learned so much about him. Took me camping a lot, taught me a lot just about God, and yeah, it was cool to have that. So again, I think Father's Day, again, lots of emotions. Some of us had good fathers, some of us didn't. And as I was thinking about it, I think, again, we all have the opportunity. We've been talking about this kind of like, how do you want to be remembered? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? How do you want to invest your time? And we all can make a choice now to say, hey, that's the kind of person I want to be. And we can all choose to be a spiritual parent to those in this room. Almost every single Sunday, we have roughly the same number of kids in our kids' rooms as in here. It's about a 1-to-1 ratio, which is pretty crazy. We're a very young church. But again, that gives us lots of opportunities to invest in the next generation, whether it's officially by serving in kids ministry, being a youth leader, or just unofficially. Just being around, remembering kids' names, using their names. When we do block parties, have fun with them. Play volleyball, play wiffle ball, that kind of stuff. Let's not be adults who are distant from the kids, in our church. Let's really invest in them and not kind of abdicate that responsibility to others. I think that's the beauty of a small church, is that we can know each other and be known, and we can kind of be this family where we're investing in each other's kids, loving into each other. So we're going to move into a time of food here a little bit. I don't know what the weather's doing outside, if we'll play some yard games or not. Is it raining? We'll see. But I'm going to pray for dinner, and then Katie's going to need some help with tables and chairs or whatever, so let's head in there. But let me pray, and then we'll share a meal together. God, thank you for this unexpected time together. God, we pray that we'll be able to reschedule baptisms here soon. But thank you just for this evening. God, thank you for the fathers that we've known, the spiritual fathers who have poured into us, just the different people in our lives who have impacted us for you. God, I also pray for those that this is just a tough day. I pray for your grace. God, I pray for your hope and peace that would just be so evident and near to them. God, I pray that as we move into this mealtime, Lord, as we eat, as we talk, that we would just put our walls down to get to know each other, to invest in the kids, to learn their names and just who they are, and just to be a good model and witness to these children. Thank you, God, for the blessing of children and family and church and food, and just bless all the preparations. And we pray, amen. All right.